hard to argue with solar power. It's become one of the biggest success stories in our shift to green energy. It's clean, it's getting cheaper all the time, and we're installing it at a jaw-dropping pace. But have you ever stopped to think about what happens when those panels get old? What happens at the end of their, say, 30-year life? Well, that's what we're looking at today. Solar Power's second act. The plan for what to do with millions of aging panels to create a truly circular industry.
I mean, you see them everywhere now, right? From your neighbor's roof to these massive, sprawling solar farms. Panels have really become this powerful symbol of a clean energy future. And this success, especially in places that got started early like Europe, is a huge win. But all that success also sets the stage for a pretty big challenge down the road. And there it is. That's the billion-dollar question. These things have a lifespan of about 25 to 30 years, which is great. But the millions upon millions of panels going up today, they're all going to need to be retired eventually. So the challenge is figuring out how to handle that coming wave of waste without, just swapping one environmental problem for another.
To really get a handle on the size of this challenge, you first have to understand just how massive the success has been. Seriously, the growth of solar in Europe wasn't just steady, it's been genuinely explosive.
Just look at this number. By the end of 2023, the European Union had a whopping 263 gigawatts of solar capacity all hooked up. That is a colossal amount of clean power, and it represents one of the oldest and biggest solar fleets anywhere in the world.
And here's the kicker. The pace is actually speeding up. 2023 was another record smasher. Over 55 gigawatts of new capacity in just 1 year. Now that's fantastic news for hitting climate goals for sure. But it also means that future wave of old panels we've been talking about, it's getting bigger every single day.
So yeah, the very success of the solar boom has created a totally unavoidable consequence. A massive and predictable wave of old panels that we absolutely need a concrete plan for.
And let's be clear, this isn't some far-off problem we can just kick down the road. It's a challenge that needs a rock-solid plan right now. Because if it's managed poorly, it could really tarnish solar's hard-won reputation as a truly green technology.
Look at this timeline here. The first really big installations in Europe happened back in the early 2000s. Now you add that 30-year lifespan, and you land right around 2030. That's when the first really big wave of waste is expected to hit, and it's only going to grow from there. The clock is definitely ticking.
So, who's responsible for all this? Well, you might actually be surprised to hear that Europe has had a plan in place for over a decade. This isn't some new problem that they're just now scrambling to solve.
This right here is the core idea. It's so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. If you make a solar panel, or import it, or sell it in the EU, you are legally and financially on the hook for what happens to it at the end of its life. Period.
This whole approach is called Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR. It's a really key part of the EU's strategy for circular economy, and it just makes sense, right? It shifts the burden of waste management away from us, the taxpayers, and puts it directly onto the companies that are profiting from these products in the first place.
For solar panels, this all became official law way back in 2012. That's when they were added to the Waste of Electrical and Electronic Equipment Directive, which everyone just calls the WEEE Directive. So the industry has actually been operating under these rules for years now.
So the directive lays out 4 super clear things that producers have to do. First, they have to register. Second, they have to pay for the whole process of collecting and treating the waste panels. Third, they have to meet pretty demanding yearly targets for collecting old panels and recovering the materials inside them. And finally, they have to report all their numbers. It's a really comprehensive system, and it's all designed for accountability.
But being compliant isn't just about avoiding a landfill. The real goal here is way more ambitious. It's about creating a truly circular system where old products become the resources for new ones. This visual explains the whole mindset perfectly. It's the EU's official waste hierarchy. Disposal, just throwing stuff away, is the absolute worst-case scenario. Recycling is good, we like recycling. But even better, right there at the top, is preparing for reuse. The number one priority is to give a working panel a second life, not just grind it up for parts.
And making this distinction is so crucial. Reuse means you take a panel that's been taken down but still works, you test it, and you put it back into service, maybe somewhere else. Recycling is the next best thing. You systematically break the panel down to get back all the valuable materials, like aluminum, glass, copper, and silver. But reuse? That is always plan A.
So, what does all this mean for the future of solar? Well, it means the industry isn't just focused on generating clean power today. It's actively planning for a sustainable life cycle tomorrow.
By building this end-of-life management stuff directly into the business model right from the very start, the industry is working to make sure its environmental footprint stays as small as possible, from cradle to grave, and hopefully right back to the cradle again.
Okay, so if you remember 3 things today, make it these. First, solar's incredible success created an unavoidable waste challenge down the line. Second, Europe got ahead of the curve with strict rules that put the responsibility right on the producers. And third, the ultimate goal isn't just disposal, it's a true circular economy, where reusing panels is the absolute top priority.
It's a huge question, isn't it? But it's one the solar industry is actively trying to answer. By turning today's solar panels into the resources for tomorrow's solar, the vision is to create a system that's not only clean, but truly sustainable and circular for generations to come.
You know, it's pretty